All right, Car Motivator followers, this is Sean Kelley, the Car Biz Coach, helping automotive leaders achieve great results through people and technology. I want to apologize for my squeaky and weird voice right now. I'm just recovering from something or other, traveling across the country, coaching will occupational hazard. You might catch a cold from time to time, but I'm here and I've got some exciting stuff to share with you guys. It's going to help you elevate the game at your dealership and take your business to the next level. And that's what coaching is all about, right? So I've got I'm going to introduce you guys to an amazing coaching client. Someone I've been lucky enough, blessed enough to know for about a year. We've been working together, and we're going to talk today to Jay Alexander. Jay Alexander is extremely dedicated to his team. He's focused on developing his business, but he's got boundaries. And one of the reasons I respect Jay most is his boundaries around his people and their families and their time. And he's been able to set phenomenal records. We're going to talk more about that, while also keeping work fun, engaging, and allowing people to have a family life. So it's amazing. And we want to share some of the practical and tactical things that Jay's done to take his store to these records. And let me introduce Jay. I'm holding the mic too long. So Jay, why don't you say hi and give the Car Motivator followers a background on who you are and your time in the car business.
Sure. Hey, Sean, thanks for having me. Jay Alexander, I'm the general sales manager at Wilde Honda of Sarasota. I've been here for 17 years, got the privilege to work for great ownership, Mark Wilde and Dean Palmer. Have an excellent GM, Skip Strasburger. So they've allowed me to do, things, me and my team do things that just, it's allowed us to get these levels.
It's awesome. Yeah, that autonomy from the top, right? I love that saying, never be the smartest person in the room. Always surround yourself with people much smarter and better than you and let them just get the job done. And you've certainly done that. Not to say Skip, those guys are smart too. We're not making fun of them, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, my team's the best. They really are.
They've given you that autonomy, and you've really taken that responsibility seriously. So Jay, why don't you share with the Car Motivator followers, like, where and how did we meet?
We met last year, April, May, at the Hustle and Grind 2 conference, which plugged for Hustle and Grind 3. It was a great conference. We met my friend Sandy Zanino, introduced me to you. I was there kind of looking between there and Digital Dealer the following week. I was looking for what the next training solution is. We were with Alan Ram Proactive Training for a few years, and he unfortunately passed in a plane crash. So we were looking for what is the next thing for us. And I didn't want to get just the standard, sign up online portal and just stuff in front of my sales guys and hope they, get something out of it. So I was looking for something different. And that's how I met you.
Awesome. Yeah, and we have a mutual friend, right? So Sandy Zanino, who is a phenomenal HR compliance trainer, right?
Yep.
And her and I were talking, and then she used to work for your dealership, and she kind of introduced us at the Hustle and Grind. That was really cool. And then you came to my round table and saw me speak, and we kind of hit it off a little bit, So before we dive into, what we've done together and how we can get these guys to, that next level at their store, I think it's also important to kind of give these guys a backdrop, like give them a little, let's give them a little, scene setting about, your dealership. Tell us, where do you work? What's it like there at your Honda store?
So we're fortunate enough to work right by Siesta Key Beach. So we have a great environment here. We've got great weather. Don't have to deal with the snow and all of that. It's a little chilly this morning. It's 65 coming in. So that's the environment we work in, and we have, a great management team. It's been here a long time. The average sales manager's been here probably 8-9 years. So it's a really great team, and Skip, the general manager, has been here over 30 years. So definitely the stability allows us to do some of the things that we do.
That's awesome. So some good tenure, right? Again, autonomy from the top. They're giving you kind of the freedom and trust and responsibility to get the job done yourself. And again, you've taken that ball and ran with it. I want to ask you, what are you most proud of accomplishing over the last 6 months? Before I do, I want to throw a slight curveball at you. Before we started working together, you had some initiatives you wanted to kind of roll out, right? Some things. What were some of those initiatives, and what were some of the barriers that were that you were concerned about?
It's just moving the volume, right? So everybody in this business always trying to move the volume and yet maintain growth. So there's just a lot of barriers as far as the size of our lot, the storage lots that we have, just that type of thing. We're getting ready to build a new service building. So we have a real small service facility right now. So they're just those are some of the physical barriers that we could, easily get caught up in.
Gotcha. And then regarding team, like you wanted to grow through social selling and social
Yeah.
media marketing. You wanted to get them to really do some stuff that they hadn't done yet, right?
Yeah, for sure. So my top salespeople have kind of been a little hesitant to get on social media. Just kind of, we wanted to leverage that. Obviously, that's the trend, and it definitely works. We'd rather sell a referral all day long, right, than somebody that's coming in off of one of these third-party lead providers.
So, so obviously, a lot of similar challenges to dealers across the country, and I guess over the last 6 months, what results, what are you most proud of achieving? And we will talk about, what we did to get those results and how he did it. We are going to discuss that, but what are you most proud of accomplishing over the last 6 months?
The last quarter we had a goal of hitting 1,000 cars. So I guess to cut your 6 months in half, we had to build some little things to get there, little wins to get to that point. And we accomplished it by I think 28 cars. We were over. So by doing it, I guess most proud of, like, we didn't stress out our staff. We didn't overwork our staff. We were allowed to do it, without pushing the needle too hard as far as making people stay time away from their families, that type of stuff.
Yeah. One of the things, it's funny when you say that, I was going to send you, remember I was like, hey, do we need a video to, create urgency and get people fired up? And, it was halfway through the month or so. And you're like, actually, no, everyone's kind of you were able to identify, you're like, no, everyone's at their peak. They're probably maximum strung out right now. You're like, actually, we're going to do a sales meeting that's more fun. And you end up doing a really fun sales meeting, like with the pit crew thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, we had to keep it loose. We had to loosen them up. We didn't want going into the last week of the year, which is, busy for us, like it is for everyone. We had to have them loose. So we didn't want to, we stopped the training. Our attitude was if they didn't know it by then, it's game time. We had to close,
That's awesome, man. So what else? What other three things? What other 2 or 3 things have you accomplished in the last quarter? I mean, the social media activity has been through the roof.
Yeah. So like I say, maybe one of the top ones is time management. That's one of the biggest problems we have in this business, and we kind of helped us focus on individually all the way down, to from the bottom salesperson up to Skip, the general manager. He was involved in as well. So we definitely focus on what do we do in a day. Not just come in and get distracted. So that piece allows the salespeople to be a little bit more proactive during their time. So definitely is a big piece. The video email, we made sure that every web lead is getting a video response. Whether you're sitting on the couch at home, whatever it is, would like to send it from the lot in front of the car, let them see that car exists. But we wanted to make sure that, right away we're sending video response. Definitely made a big difference for us.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, because I've looked at case studies where a dealer group, one dealer group in particular, they looked at 20,000 internet leads, and the ones that got a video had 11% higher appointment set rate. It was like 14% higher show rate, and they closed at a higher percentage as well. So there's no doubt some of these initiatives, which I think you've been able to do so much in such a little time. It's pretty phenomenal, because some of these initiatives, I mean, I remember thinking back to when I first adopted video at my store. It took me like a year to get everyone using video. So
yeah, sure.
You've been able to do that among other things so quickly. I want to ask you, how has the Car Motivators coaching, the Drive C3 coaching that my company, myself and my team have been doing with your guys, how has it helped you enact your plans and get those results?
Sure. So I guess back to my original thought of, I didn't want to add another, just watch the portal. Log into this portal and watch this guy on video training. So how could we be different? So, what we've done is we've set up time slots, where you would sit with individual salespeople and we kind of craft a different plan for each one. Because my bottom guy doesn't need the same motivation as my top guy. And then in between, there's lots of different things. Everybody's different, so every salesperson needs a different motivation. You've helped us tap into that for sure, especially meeting time with my managers and allowing them to tap into that.
Well, listen, man, I can't tell you how honorable it is to be a small part of your guys' success. And funny story though, right? Like when we first met, you didn't have me working with your team right away. In fact, you were, and again, I'm curious, I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about getting a coach, especially in a senior leadership position at a dealership like you, they have their reservations. What were your concerns at first?
My concerns are, ownership. They want me to look out for the salespeople. I feel it's my job to constantly, I don't want to throw the flavor of the week in front of them without without going through it first. So I had to make sure you were the real deal. So we met 3 or 4 times before we even considered you coming to the dealership, which I know you're trying to come right away, but that's, I don't just throw anybody in front of our people. This is, we care about the people, for sure.
Well, and I respect that. And I think that's probably another one of the reasons why your initiatives you've been able to get them implemented so effectively, because, you're not just bombarding them with, like you said, the flavor of the week. So they know when you bring something in, you mean business and you expect them to execute. And I think that is very, that's that focus that I was kind of mentioning earlier for the people watching this. So I guess, what coaching wins did you personally experience when we were working together in our one-on-one coaching? Because I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with senior leaders, even salespeople hire us. Actually, we have our new Coach Chat program. You can sign up for Coach Chat on our website, carmotivators.com, where individual salespeople can now afford coaching. We're giving it away 14 days free to get started, $67 a month for a salesperson. And based on what you've seen with me working with your individual salespeople,
Sure.
Are they going to get a return on that investment, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. Money well spent, because it's basically, you're catering to the salesperson's needs, and you're going to dig in and push them the way that an online portal might not. That, not that there's not great stuff on some of those portals, but this is going to be more tailored to the individual salesperson and where they're at and what they're walking through, for sure.
And some of my favorite wins, right? And may I say your salesperson's first name? Some of them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like Martha, she's 20 cars, and she's breaking into the 30s and joining local communities, and getting on social. Rolando, man, that guy's just grown as a person and as a leader and as a sales, and his sales are significantly up consistently month after month, right? So those are just
let me cut you off on Rolando for a minute, right? So Rolando, he's a guy that's been up and down for the past year, and he's got all the skill set in the world. He's bilingual. He's a great salesperson, right? He's been up and down, but what Car Motivators has done through, not just through you guys talking with him, but through you coaching Flint, my new car director, helping him work with him as well. It's just added the confidence to him. He had his best month ever in December. He sold 26 and a half cars. He sold, over 60 for the last quarter. He just did a really, really good job. His trajectory is definitely pointed up.
It's awesome, man. And again, it's my absolute honor to work with everyone on your team, from you all the way to your sales staff. And, and I think, I guess what made you decide? What made you say, you know what? I'm going to bring, Sean, I'm going to bring Car Motivators, because, John and I came and visited your store. We'll talk more about that in a minute. What made you decide to bring us in? How did I overcome those reservations that, the flavor of the month thing? How did you decide that this guy is the real deal? What did I do to make that happen?
I just, my discussions with you were, you helped me look at things differently. So being a general sales manager position, there's nobody else in the store that's a general sales manager, right? We have one in this position. So I don't have guys to really bounce things off of. So being that you held that position for a long time in the Hyundai store and really set some goals there. So you had the mutual respect right away. Just learning, just being able to turn my head a little different on things.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So helping you see from those different angles and allowed you to make some decisions that helped you get clarity, grow your business, and help you enjoy work more, right? So
yeah, for sure.
That's awesome, man. And I guess, you had us come in. John and I spent an entire day with your team. We do what's called a GPS and a cultural assessment, where we basically uncover everyone's goals, purpose, and significance. And then we spend the day and we meet with everyone on the team, and we try to uncover blind spots, right? Because you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle, and we all have them. So
sure.
What value did you receive from that cultural assessment and those GPSs?
Well, I mean, I think overall it helped. We do a lot of our training virtually with you, kind of like we're doing right now. To where it allowed you to see, the inside, see the way that when we talk about something, how the managers do react. And you spent quite a bit of time here, so you could see that, hey, we don't wear ties here in Sarasota, Florida, like we didn't let you wear when you were here, so it's a different culture for sure.
Well, you're the first in the history of my business. You're the first dealership I ever visited with a Hawaiian shirt on. So I did that for you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought long and hard on that. I was like, do I really want to change who I am and what I do? I have a process, as simple as that sounds, but I realized, I'm like, coaching is tailoring it for the individual. It's tailoring it for the store. That's when we spent that day with you guys. Yeah, I really did get to take a peek under the hood And I think it's really helped us kind of tailor our solution. And
Sure.
that's one of the reasons why what we do has the effects you're sharing here. So you've got this amazingly diverse leadership team, right? And
Yep.
I mean, you've got, different age generations, different personality
Sure.
styles. You've got a really awesome and diverse leadership team. Where have you seen each of them grow since we've been coaching with them?
So I guess, yeah, I could start with my used car manager, Greg Bowers, right? He he's kind of my heavy, right? So he's the one in yelling, barking at salespeople, keeping them in line. He was a great salesman here for a long time, and knows the process as well. And he sold the way that we like the salespeople to sell now, which is, take your day off, work a little bit more than your shift, and be efficient with your time. So he's great as far as that. So you've definitely helped him with the time management piece and making sure he's getting the most out of his day. Kevin, the used car director, you got his head spinning in all different ways. He's come up with a lot of different programs. He set a record in December for us, which was 183 used cars. So he was that was big for this store. So he was the leader behind that. Flint, the new car director, Flint I've known for a long time. He's a buddy of mine from growing up. So sometimes it's hard to move your buddies, so it's definitely pushed him outside of his box, and he's become one heck of a leader with some of these sales guys, as I mentioned earlier. And Bob, he's my new car manager. He's definitely my guide for everything. He picks up all the pieces behind everything. He allows us to be as silly as we are sometimes, and he's a rock for sure of the office. So it definitely helped him fix some of his strategies for sure.
Awesome, man. And I think, no matter how good we are working together, there's always the water cooler conversations, right? And obviously we're doing most of this all virtually over the internet and the phone, and it's been extremely effective, clearly. But what do they say? You guys are in that office together. What do they say about receiving coaching? You've got a very tenured management staff. A lot of times
Sure.
I hear other trainers, they are like, oh, I don't mess with the managers, man. They don't want to learn. I'm like, they're the most coachable people is what I found.
Sure.
So what does your manager staff say about receiving coaching?
I think they like the fact that they can do the coaching on the push down to some of the salespeople, right? So you're giving them words that they hadn't thought about using. When you surround yourself with the same group of people for years and years and years, we all sound the same. We all use the same slang, and everybody talks the same way. But when we get some outside perspective, and it's kind of allowed them to craft their words with the salespeople in a better way.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's my mission, right? Is to transform as many managers in the car business into coaches as possible, because I know how it impacts people's lives. And I'm grateful that you're experiencing some of that now. And we're just getting started, right? Because we've got big plans for this year, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So sometimes, I think one of the challenges, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but sometimes when I'm coaching people or do that site visit day, I almost feel like they fear selling more cars. They're like, oh man, because when you think about selling more cars, right, you think about more problems, more stress, more challenges with your sales team, doing more work. So I guess, have you guys setting records, right? What's different about it this time, right? But with how, I guess you're selling more cars, where are employee stress levels and job satisfaction? How has that been looking since our coaching?
Here, we want to sell more cars. I don't know. I think you're in the wrong business if you don't. We never want to stop pushing that needle. Ownership won't let me. I'll be out on the street, I think. It's going to be constantly trying to move that needle. We're looking. We like this December we set a store record, which was 408 cars, which was great. But we need to be better than great next year. So next year's numbers can have a 5 in it for December, I'm sure. But there's a lot of stuff we got to do by the time we get there. There's a lot of work that has to be done. Hopefully pile up a good year on the way.
That's awesome, man. So, one of the things that your guys have shared with me is like Greg, for instance, when we did our cultural assessment, he was like, oh man, it's always like this at the desk with he's like, Sean, it's crazy. He said this to me a month ago when we coached. He said, Sean, this is crazy. We're selling more cars than ever, and there's less stress than ever. He goes, the silly questions have gone away. People are executing at a high level. It's, to me, that's really rewarding to know that I'm helping, because man, the car business is so stressful for leaders. It's stressful for everyone.
Sure.
let's be real, managers have the weight of the world on their shoulders. I mean, we've got to perform every month. We've got to either grow the business or at least do as good as last year, right? There's so much stress. So to know that's what other skills, skill sets, attitudes, motivation have you seen improve, over the last few months?
So Greg specifically, to talk about what you just talked about, and he was, having that constant, when guys come to the desk, I think he was answering better questions. He was asking better questions, to the salespeople rather than just barking back and forth. And sometimes you can get into that, where sales guys hate the managers on the desk. I mean, you see it every store, across the world, right? So that constant battle. But it's kind of helped those guys, help the salespeople find a solution.
It's awesome, man. So you broke the all-time record the last quarter by 28 cars, just smashed it. Congratulations, raise the bar. What are our plans for this year, my friend? What's next, man? We're cycle of continuous improvement. You said it. We can't.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we going
to increase efficiency, right? So we're building a new service building, so we can't let that be a hurdle for us. So we want to increase volume and build a new service building at the same time. So our processes have to get tighter. Our reconditioning processes are good, but they need to be great. Communication has to be better. And then we're going to work our way into a big finish like last year.
That's exciting, man. Is any numbers going to start with a 5 this time?
Yeah, it's going to have to, especially to re-sign you guys, so that's going to be, you're going to need 501 in December to get the next year's contract.
Hey, tell them about the 01. You said, Sean, we got to hit 400 and then we'll re-sign you again. I said, okay, but did I settle with that?
No, you said you wanted 401. You wanted to really move us that extra car. So we got that done with 408 in December. So we were talking at 400 here. We just thought, the previous record was 380, was done 2 years ago, so we wanted to get back on track and breaking that December record, which is our busiest month. And this December was our biggest, gross profit month, net profit month. I mean, it was just, we checked all the boxes. It was just a great end of the year, but it's like, here's January, here we go again. So let's figure out how to get better.
0 to 0, right? Did you guys win the President's Award, by the way?
Yes, we did. Yeah, it's our 18th one. So it's not an easy thing to do with Honda. So that's a feather in Skip Strasburger's cap, our general manager. He keeps us tight. He watches that all year long.
Nice job, Skip, if you're watching this. Okay, last but not least. So, again, we've shared some best practices. We've talked about, building your social. We've talked about, communicating more effectively with your staff. We've talked about, keeping work fun and enjoyable, right? Giving people autonomy to make decisions and come up with ideas and execute at a high level. We've talked about, a lot of different strategies for growing how dealers can grow and managers can grow their business. Let's leave these guys with some serious value. I guess, what's your number one biggest piece of advice you'd want to share with the Car Motivators followers, or any sales manager leader watching this that will help them get to that next level?
Shall we talk? Me and you have talked quite a bit. We both read the Can't Hurt Me book by David Goggins, right? So talk about getting that governor and ripping the governor off, right? So thinking, don't just be happy with what the market's going to allow you to sell. Got to think outside the market, and try to move the numbers. So we're just going to continue to push that thing and rip the governor off here at Wilde Honda.
No doubt, man. I love that, and that's such a great book, and I appreciate you referring that to me. It's true. Just when you think you've maxed out and you can't go any harder, it's like you've got 60% more in your tank. You just don't even know it. So you push past. And I love that, man. And I think you have been a testament to that as a leader. Wilde is blessed to have you on the team, and I'm blessed to be a part of your team. Let's keep the momentum, my friend. Let's keep growing, and here's to an amazing 2019 and even better 2020. Sound good?
Sounds good. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you, my friend. All right, guys, this is Sean Kelley, the Car Biz Coach. Check out carmotivators.com. If you're a salesperson watching this, get started for Coach Chat for free. It's 14 days. We'll get your personal GPS, your goals, purpose, and significance set up to get started for free. And then 14-day trial. Then it's $67 a month. You get your own personal performance coach. We're going to be your accountability buddy. We're going to transfer the skills that you need to succeed. And let's be real, man. Managers in the car business, they mean well, but they don't have the time to invest in you unless they've received our coaching for some time. It's hard for them to break away and give you the attention you need to grow, to really get the skill set necessary to thrive at the dealership. So there's nothing wrong with investing in yourself. You've got to have that growth mindset. And bottom line is this, there's no one that we coach that doesn't receive a massive return on their investment. It would be an honor to have you as a coaching client. And if you're a manager and you're watching this and you're like, man, I want to get my store to the next level, all you have to do is reach out. You can reach out through our website. You can also email me, Sean, SEAN at carmotivators.com. And we can do a free 20-minute strategy discovery call. And on that call, I'm gonna learn all about you, your personnel, your challenges, your barriers. And then what we'll do is we can determine on that call if a cultural assessment, if a site visit would make sense. And then we could come in, spend the day with your team, and really figure out what your opportunities for growth are. It's a lot of fun. It's lightweight. We don't, it's not something that just distracts you or takes away from your day. But it would be an honor to meet you. So please reach out if you want to grow, just like Jay and Wilde Honda of Sarasota. So Jay, thank you again for joining, brother. It's an absolute honor to be your coach. Let's rock and roll, man. Talk to you soon.
See you, Sean.
Yeah, buddy.